Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we are comparing the Vive Pro with wireless adapter to the Oculus Quest. Find out why I chose to compare these. You're probably thinking it makes absolutely no sense to compare this device to this device. They are completely different. That is actually the major point of this video. I was on the fence about getting the Oculus Quest because I didn't think there was anything for me to gain by this product. Yes, it is a wireless product. Technically, this is a wireless product with a wireless adapter. But this is truly wireless. This is basically untethered. I'm still stuck in this room. But in my eyes, that was the only thing I could possibly gain. The ability to leave this room and go play somewhere else. While that is a benefit, it also comes with some significant drawbacks. So I am going to go into detail what I like and hate about both of these products. By no means is this comparison a wash. I can't say straight, this is the better product or this is the better product. And let's get this out of the way. This is $1,500 for the whole set, including the wireless adapter. This one's only $500. This is a 128 gigabyte model. So that being said, I didn't think I could gain anything by getting this. But I do have to start this video by saying this is an excellent device. And if you have not experienced VR yet, and you're looking to get into VR and you don't have a computer, this is a great starting point. For me though, some of my fears came true. Being accustomed to something like this is definitely a significant downgrade. I'm gonna run through comfort, graphics, and games, because I think overall that's the most important thing in VR. So if you've used the Vive Pro, it is a huge improvement over the Vive. It is extremely comfortable. It has tons of padding. However, impacting the comfort of this device is heat. This device gets extremely warm, and after about 25-30 minutes, I start to get uncomfortable. And there's only two ways around that for me. I can actually pull this forward. This moves significantly if you squeeze here. I mean, that doesn't look like much, but it's significant. I'll let you get bulky glasses in there. So that moves significantly, and if you pull it forward all the way, just that distance away from the lens helps you from getting that warm. For me, it makes a huge difference. Or I could put this device into nighttime mode and then everything's pretty dim, but that also makes not as significant, but it makes a difference. I won't feel the heat until about 45 minutes to an hour. That heat actually gets me to stop using this. And I originally thought my device was damaged. And I contacted Vive and they replaced my device, and the new device, same heat level. I know it was a new device, it was all packaged, everything. I've asked other people and yes, they experienced the same thing. Some people complain about the heat from the wireless adapter. That never bothers me, I never feel that at all. And I actually am more comfortable in rapid paced games, where I actually tend to sweat and move around a lot. I think the movement will get a little bit more in the air in there because this is pretty front heavy and it does move a lot. So I keep this tight, strapped on, cranked onto my face. But even that tight, with all this padding, it's still very comfortable. Now moving to the Oculus Quest, the experience is actually quite different. The second I put this on my face, I said, oh wow, nice, hard plastic. That's a good feel. Even though there is some padding here, my problem is the bridge of my nose. So when I move in the IPD, because I have to put it in all the way, that's the only spot that seems focused to me, the lenses will come in and they will pinch my nose and I'll be quite uncomfortable. Now, the Vive Pro does do that too, and actually sometimes if I move around really quick, my nose will press against the lenses and actually readjust the IPD. I'll actually see that big intrusive, IPD display come up. This has the slider, which is actually much easier to adjust than that one. But once it's in where I need it, it pinches my nose. Now it wasn't to the point that it got me playing. I can actually play with this longer than this. Even though this feels more comfortable, the heat eventually gets to me unless I'm doing those 2 workarounds I mentioned. I kept this on for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. I played through all of Vader Immortal, and that was fine. I did feel a little bit of heat, but not enough that was gonna get me to stop playing. But that pinching in the nose was annoying, and especially if I was playing anything fast-paced, when I turned, it was like, ow, ow, ow. And it was bothering me, but it just wasn't bothersome enough for me to be like, I can't use this thing, I need to take it off. So, while it's not as immediately as comfortable, and like, look at this strap. I put it on, I feel like it's not very secure. It's still comfortable enough. So, I mean, that one gets points for comfort, but loses points for heat level. Now, graphically, they put a really nice screen, or rather screens, in this device. And from a resolution standpoint, they're basically the same. But you can actually notice a difference. The lens, I will see much more God rays than in this. I'll still see God rays. And the screen door effect, barely a difference. I think I would notice things more in this because obviously the hardware is much lower end compared to a fairly new Core i7 processor and a GeForce 1080 Ti. You cannot compete with that. I mean, we have all of this versus this, so obviously you can't compete there. I played a lot of the same games. I played Rec Room on both today. I played Robo Recall on both today. And then I played a few additional games. Beat Saber, Creed. So just to get a much closer comparison. Now, you can go online and see comparison videos. I feel like it's hard to tell just looking at some people put them side by side. When you actually get in there, I think Robo Recall was the biggest downgrade, to the point that it was the only one that really bothered me. Like, robots didn't explode. Sometimes, your muzzle flare wouldn't go off. It's basically the equivalent of taking your computer and putting it on potato. Now, I mean, again, all of this versus all of this. This isn't, there shouldn't be anything new, anything that surprises you guys. But for what this can do, it's still pretty impressive. And if it's your first time in VR, this will impress you. Vader Immortal is probably an essential game to have. While it's shallow in some respects, the VR mechanics are minimal, the combat is non-existent, kind of. It's a great VR experience. But it also made me notice that they pushed this thing to the max in Vader Immortal. And the first combat scene where you're battling a droid, or the training droid, I was very clearly able to see that the center of the screen was rendered at a higher resolution than the sides and the floor. And it was chopped off, and it was extremely easy to see. Broke the immersion, and it made me realize they're pushing this as hard as they can. Now, Vader Immortal looks pretty good. It looks really good. But this device does not create the same immersion or have the same presence as a tethered VR. Now, I've used a few different tethered VRs. I had an original Vive, I've used an Oculus Rift, and this is the Vive Pro. And it definitely doesn't have the same presence. I'm used to VR, so it doesn't have that initial wow factor that when you first get into VR. But one of the things that I think makes this just feel more real is the refresh rate. This is 72, this is 90. That's not a significant difference. And I didn't feel any motion sickness or dizziness at the lower refresh rate. 72 was fine, I felt comfortable. But it just didn't feel as real, or as like I was there. I put this on, and I feel like I've been transported. I put this on, I feel like I'm being entertained. Even really high cliffs. I was looking over in this, and they didn't really turn my stomach the same way this one would. Also, this opening here is huge, so there's a lot of light bleed. So at any time you look down, you can see your toes, the floor, there's light coming in. So that breaks the immersion too. But again, if it's your first time in VR, I think it will definitely impress you. Playing Beat Saber was the first time I noticed that the in-strap audio here, it's acceptable. It's good. You put it on, you're like, oh, this sounds good. You put on Beat Saber, you're like, oh man, there is no bass. And that's where this device is just significantly better. The integrated audio, while a lot of people have talked a lot of trash about this integrated audio, I'm quite happy with it. Some people said there's not enough pressure in the clamp, which affects the bass. The bass is very high for me. I'm happy with it. And yeah, the audio difference on this to that is huge, hands down. So if I had a choice, to play a lot of those games, I'm gonna play this because it feels like you're there and it just looks better. This also has a wider, it's only 10 degree, it's a wider field of view, and it does make a difference. Now, we went through comfort, we went through graphics, and now the most important thing is games. Obviously, the library of games is huge on this. You have all your Steam VR games, you have your Viveport games, you have the possibility of Viveport subscription, and right now this is at like 50 titles, maybe a little bit more, some software apps. There are ways to play your actual Steam VR games, stream them to this. I had mixed results. It's gonna depend on so many different things. Your computer, your Wi-Fi, you're gonna need a 5G signal. It's gonna depend on a different thing, and some games just don't work as well as others. Hand position is slightly off. Clarity isn't there, might get a lot of artifacts. This wireless adapter is on 60 Hertz. I have the sensor up there. It's actually out of view. I have like almost no issues with it at all. I'd say 99.9% of the time it works perfect, and maybe every once in a while I'll get 2 seconds of pixelation. So my wireless adapter is excellent. So the only major benefit this has is this is it. I don't have to get one of these computers, set up room scale, put the light trackers on the wall, shell out $1,500. So from a price benefit, this thing makes sense if you don't have a computer. So the last real thing to talk about is controllers and tracking. Now, I am actually not a fan of the Vive controller. I do not like the touchpad, and I much more prefer the stick. That's why I'm looking forward to getting my Valve Index controllers when they come in. I just don't like this. These are also big and clunky and drain batteries like crazy. At the same time, the haptic feedback is a lot better, and these are a little bit too small. I'm not a big dude, and look, they're outside my grip. So these are a little bit too small in my opinion. These are kind of a little bit too big. This grip button, I accidentally squeeze all the time. Now, when it comes to tracking, though, these are much better. These are adequate. These work well enough. The inside-out tracking system, the fact that you don't have to put up lighthouses around your room is great. And the 4 cameras do a really good job. However, I was playing Vader Immortal, and I had tracking issues that were really only immersion breaking. Like, I was sitting there in cutscenes crossing my hands, and all of a sudden I just see a hand kind of start floating around because it lost tracking. It didn't know what it was really seeing. I guess I was like this or something. At the same time, Robo Recall, pulling guns off my shoulder, I failed multiple times. I was like, where the hell is my shotgun? And I played that game a ton. So that was a little frustrating, but for the most part, I would say tracking is definitely accurate enough. It would probably only really bother me in a PvP game or, something really fast paced. Like Robo Recall, it slowed me down a little bit, but I wasn't losing my mind. The battery life in these things is excellent because after 4 hours of play, they still say they're at 100%. These would be almost dead, if not dead. Battery life on the Quest, I played for about 2.5 hours. It wasn't dead yet. It said low though. And I can get about 4 hours out of my wireless adapter. Usually, I mean, I've only played through it to die once, and it was definitely around 3.5 hours, 4. So, there's things I like and dislike about both of the products. And at the end of the day, if you're looking to introduce yourself to VR, you cannot go wrong with this product. It's a great product for what it is. The fact that in only a few years VR made it from tethered, clunky, huge room scale and very expensive to $400, almost everyone can get it, is huge. But, like I said, this has more games, the graphics are better. Most of the benefits of that device are here with a wireless adapter, but you are undoubtedly paying for a premium. This device is overpriced. There's no way around it. This is an overpriced product. If you factor in the 1-year subscription that came with the Vive Pro, so the Vive Infinity subscription, it helps. That's a ton of content you can play. Unless there were games that you really wanted, you don't have to buy games for a year. You also get those good sales. Now, I'm gonna prefer this device. I'm gonna use this for most of my VR gaming because I've kind of become a graphics whore over time. And this just feels more immersive. This feels like true VR to me. This feels like VR on the go. This feels like a mobile experience, but a damn good one. I give the edge to this one because, again, you're paying for a more expensive product. You should be getting something better. For me, it has all the benefits of this, except you can't leave the house with this one. But I do get to use it wirelessly, untethered. I don't need to go to a different room, a different play area. And one last complaint I have about this device is the Guardian system. The Guardian system is just so oversensitive. I've been using my Vive and Vive Pro in this room. It is 10 feet by 20 feet. That is my play area. This device will not let me move my arms out without freaking out. And there's no way to adjust the Guardian barrier like you would in Steam VR. In that case, I would just go, sometimes I even put it on developer mode or put it at its minimal setting so that even if I do go into the boundary, I only see that tiny flicker around the floor. This gives you a giant, intrusive, everywhere boundary, and it's driving me nuts to the point that I had to redo the Guardian and actually go past my couch and kind of draw into my wall because I was getting nowhere close to the wall and it kept telling me I actually could not do a wingspan. Mind you, I have 10 feet in the room. I'm a short dude. My wingspan can't be more than 6 feet, which means there's 1.5 feet. If I'm in the middle of the room, there's 1.5 feet from my hand to the wall or to the couch, and it was still freaking out, telling me I'm too close. A lot of people said also the pass-through system, when you go outside your Guardian space and you can see through the cameras and stereoscope, some people were saying that it, it's perfect one-to-one. For me, it absolutely is not. One, I'll notice the refresh rate drop, and it actually makes me quite dizzy. Not enough that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna throw up or anything, but it's disorienting. And the tracking of my hand is, I don't know what's going on there. It's so not one-to-one that I actually have to close my eyes to look down at my hand. It is so disorienting. But who cares, you know? When am I gonna be walking around in the house with this thing on? It's so light and so easy to just pull off You know, I'll take it off. I'm not gonna walk around my house with the pass-through. That's just stupid. Yeah, but that's a minor complaint, and for some reason that's a me thing, because other people are saying it works great. What the hell? Yeah, so again, recap really fast. Great device, great value, great introduction to VR. Better experience, paying for a premium. Better tracking, and slightly better controllers, and that's it. That's my opinion, guys. Again, you can go into the objective description of how one device is better than the other. You know, objectively, this is much better hardware. Some people will say, no, the lenses aren't as good, the screen isn't as good. Close, very close. This is damn good hardware, but it's mobile hardware. There's no getting around that. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, don't forget to maybe leave a comment, subscribe, thumbs up. You do what you want, and I will see you guys on next time.